You quit your job and came to China without knowing what you want to do here.
Correct.
You just knew you want to be here. For a lot of people, it's crazy. For me, it makes no sense to stay in Europe.
After living here now for more than half a year, it's becoming harder and harder to think of missing all these things that make my life so convenient right now.
The interesting thing is I have a lot of Chinese friends who said, oh, I would love to live in Germany because maybe it's too much for them. It's too intense. But for me, growing up in the countryside in Germany, it's like, oh yeah, you can go. You can have my spot in Germany.
For sure, 100%.
Welcome to the Asiabits podcast. And today is a special episode because we want to talk a little bit about our founder story and what made you move from Germany to China.
Yeah, why I decided to come here and how the first months and weeks looked like when I came here.
Yeah, everyone knows that there's so much going on here in Asia when it comes to technology and innovation. And this was also one of the reasons why we started the newsletter and this podcast. So if you want to know what's going on technology, innovation on a daily basis, subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to this podcast and give us a like. So let's go. Michael, we have
Thomas.
a very successful series on LinkedIn. We created it for you. What's the hook of this series?
I quit my job in Germany and moved to China.
And I don't know why, but it somehow really resonates with the audience on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, especially now in this year, or like the last 2 years, basically, everybody is keeping their eye on China or in Asia in particular.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, I've been living in China for 10 years now, and it was a very rocky way to go. So there was so much changes over the time. Like I got so much hate for just living in China and making videos about China, social media about China. And now it is cool again to make content about China, right?
Yeah, especially I guess this year, yeah, as I said, last year, beginning with DeepSeek,
Yeah.
something just changed about the perception of how China is seen by the world. And after that, also China opened the visa policy, right? And then it started to become more like a trend also for traveling. So you like lots of travel videos on Instagram or on other social media were popping up like crazy. Everybody was just coming to China to just finally explore how China really is, right?
Yeah. And before COVID, there's a huge difference in the tourists I see here. When our office is close to city center, Nanjing East Road, and before COVID, it was just these travel groups of old American 60 plus people,
Okay.
20, 30 of them coming
Yeah.
there. And now it's young couples. It's backpackers coming to China.
Yeah. There's a lot. And I've seen so many people just going viral, posting about technology and everything that's going on here in China. And I was in the tech industry as well. So I was always curious, like what is really going on.
So it's not just a hook that we write,
No.
it's the truth.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
You quit your job and came to China without knowing what you want to do here.
Correct.
You just knew you want to be here.
Yeah. I actually had my first contact or what got in touch with China in, I guess, 2017 or 18 when I came here the first time for like 2 weeks, but it was mainly jumping from one factory to the other and one dinner to the other, less talking about business, rather eating. And it wasn't something like you really understand how the people live here, but it was already a glimpse into what could business look like and how different it was to compared to doing business in Europe or in Germany.
Yeah, it is for sure. And I was actually thinking of what to do in the future. Like I love living in Shanghai. I love living in Asia in general because
Mm.
the food here, the people, the way they approach life. Life is much more intensive in Asia
Oh yeah.
than, and this is maybe why the interesting thing is I have a lot of Chinese friends who said, "Oh, I would love to live in Germany because maybe it's too much for them. It's too
Yeah,
intense." But for me, growing up in the countryside in Germany, it's like, "Oh yeah, you can go, you can have my spot in Germany."
for sure, 100%. Yeah, I was never gonna go back.
No, are you? You're never gonna go back?
No, I don't. I can't really think of like living in the countryside. And
Yeah,
after living here now for like more than half a year, it's becoming harder and harder to think of missing all these things that make my life so convenient right now.
yeah,
For you, I don't know. I know you now for like 6 months, and it still feels like you're exploring so much new every single day. Even though you live here or in Shanghai for 10 years, right?
yeah,
It's still like, I don't know, whenever you cross the street, you see something new.
yeah,
And it feels, I can really feel it in you as well. Like that, this is something that you didn't expect.
yeah,
Even though you know China's speed, right?
yeah. Yeah, and for me, it makes so much sense that you say I quit my job in Germany and moved to China. But for a lot of people, it's crazy. For me, it makes no sense to stay in
Yeah.
Europe, you know.
Yeah.
And everyone, I have to say, everyone I talk to, not just people in China, people in Asia, they say like Europe is done. So there's no hope. Yeah, we don't have to.
Mm.
We don't want to black paint it too much. There's
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah,
great
sure,
people in
sure.
Europe and a lot of going on. We have a startup community in Europe also, but the all in all, the big picture here in Asia, it's just like for me, the most amazing continent to live in. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm coming from an entrepreneurial family myself, so I know also a lot of entrepreneurs in Germany, and it's becoming harder and harder for a small company to survive. That's
mm.
why I wanted to see how actually the whole startup ecosystem works here in Asia. And I was traveling whenever I had the chance to go on vacation. I would always choose Asia over going somewhere in Europe because everything is so similar to what I've known, right?
Yeah.
So I was always coming here to the Asian countries, and it was always fascinating to me, like how close all these countries are here together, but how different they are, which is, I don't know, something that is very unique in Asia.
And I posted quite viral LinkedIn article earlier this year with the headline, "We are living in the Asian century and Europe is still ignoring it."
Yeah,
And this also resonated very much with my bubble, mainly because my bubble maybe lives in Asia, but also a lot of people who are like second grade connections or third grade connections, because the biggest problem is that there's so much happening in Asia, whether it's China, Vietnam now, or
yeah.
South Korea. Japan, maybe maybe not so much. They're a little bit stuck, but there's so much happening, and nobody in Europe knows about it.
Yeah.
And if we say nobody, it's exaggerated, but it feels like, and it's not that they don't know; they are not even interested. They're not even curious what's happening here.
Yeah, true. Most of my friends, they don't really ask what I'm actually doing here. Like they're not really interested, as you said. That's a sad thing.
And it's suicide, you know.
True.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like from a business point of view, it's suicide. You have to know what's going on here.
Yeah, for me it was so hard when after like this DeepSeek shock went like viral in the media also, because this was something that they can't really put down, right? What is actually happening here. And when people things started to move into China, right? Also with the trade war, China got a lot of attention. It was still super hard to get real information about what are the companies doing here, how are they doing it, and why do they succeed? What is the big difference between companies in Asia, and what do they so different that I mean, we have this growth, GDP growth, still at a high level, like
Hmm.
5%
Yeah.
every year. There is high growth still here in China, while this is not the case in Europe.
Yeah.
So it was very hard to keep up with the media, or like to understand what are Asian people doing differently.
Yeah, and the problem, as I said, like in Europe, and we are German, so we can say it about Germany. It's like we are so Germany centric, so Eurocentric that we think we are the Nabel of the world, of der Nabel der Welt, as we say in German. So we
Yeah.
think we are the center of the universe. But
Yeah.
then you go to Asia, and then you see like DeepSeek. It's not just DeepSeek; it's the e-commerce. When you talk about live streaming, when you talk about logistics, how they do it here in
Yeah,
Asia,
supply chain is crazy.
supply chain, it's unbelievable. Like we did live streaming and with TikTok in Germany because they started doing this live shopping, and for here it's so normal that you sell on social media. We have this big, I also do these keynotes and workshops on social commerce in China. It's so common here. And then you
Mm.
go to Germany, and we did this live streaming booth, and all the people passing by, they say, "Oh, it's so crazy." So they're selling like products live on TikTok. And
Yeah, you
then you
see,
go cars,
true.
right? EVs. It's
Yeah.
like after COVID, all the German car brand CEOs, they came and said, "Oh wow, in 2 years they overpassed us."
BYD became a name.
Yeah, yeah. And this is not the peak. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, and it's moving crazy fast.
Yeah. So when we see what's happening here, we, like as you said, like I've been living here for 10 years, but I'm astonished every day on the speed that is happening. Even like now that I do research about technology and innovation every day, it's
Yeah.
so crazy. If you see like the numbers, what the governments, the banks, the companies invest in future technologies here, as a German, we have to be ashamed.
And
Right?
actually, what is the most crucial part about is that they have a certain plan how they execute.
Yeah.
So, as a citizen in Asia, you can actually be sure that something in the background, like something, is structured. It has
Yeah.
some certain plan, and that's why they execute fast, because they split down whatever they have in a like a 5-year goal. They split it down into different industries, and then they just execute and support businesses, small entrepreneurs, like entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs. They create this whole ecosystem so that people actually have the chance to contribute to the growth.
And it's not just China. China is the big player, right? And China
Of
gets a lot
course.
of attention also from the media because they love this China versus US story. But when we look at South Korea, we wrote about it last week,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
South Korea, they actually have the AI battle plan.
Yeah.
They want to become one of the world's leading AI nations. And they get all the players on board. They have the laws. They do the infrastructure. They even do the schools,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah. They
So
incorporate like future technologies, how to leverage basically the technology that you have right now, the access to it. They provide access to the people so that they can execute faster, iterate over certain things in a very high speed, and get shit done.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this. I heard about it in the news. The German government, they are investing a ridiculous low number. It was like
18
18
billion.
billion US or euros, 18 billion euros over 5 years in 6 fields.
Yeah.
So it's 3 billion US dollars for AI in 5 years. While there are players like Samsung or also the US players, they will invest in the next year
500 billion.
hundreds of billions.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And then I read about this. Also, the German government also has like this delegation or whatever. They have this discussion circle, where they will discuss and they will view, they will take a look at the world, what they're doing, and then they will develop some recommendations what to do. And here we see, like the last couple of years, every government in this region is setting up funds for AI
Yeah.
together with banks, together with universities, and together with companies, so they can work together and develop it.
Yeah, that's why, like, after I came here, was it becoming so clear to me that I have to stay here. I wanted, like, actually, I wanted to come here just to explore how it might be. So I just wanted to take, like, maybe 1 year off and just see in between switching jobs, like, like, I wanted to understand the market dynamics, what is really going on, and then see. But then, yeah, China speed hit, I guess.
China speed hit. So we met in an elevator, and then you told me about the tool you built for
Correct.
yourself, where you stay up to date on what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Because I said there was like no clear media that was non-biased, because it's a big problem also. Like, they don't really report about the stuff that is actually going on here, or only on the surface level.
Or the stuff you are interested in. They
Yeah,
report
exactly.
about politics and
It
all
is
the
a lot
geopolitics.
about war,
Yeah, yeah.
like, defense, whatever.
Oh
This is
yeah, German media loves this war rhetoric. Maybe it's our history. We love wars. So
yeah. So that's why I wanted to, like, see if I can find something, or at least information, that would keep me up to date, right? But it was super hard. So I went on LinkedIn, and like, I was following those guys who were talking about, like, what is going on in Asia, what is going on in China, and I found some local newspapers also on the internet, where I could use the information that would be interesting for me, like technology, AI, finance related information, right? News. So I wanted to gather all these information, filter what is important for me or interesting to me, and then summarize it, because I didn't want to spend, like, half of my day reading through all these news. So that was the initial goal, just to keep myself updated when I'm here, trying to network with people, attending meetings, and then having something to talk about that is interesting to myself, right? For me.
And then we met, and you told me about this tool you built for yourself. So it was practically a newsletter you built for yourself, right?
Correct. It was basically scraping automatically those sources I just mentioned, and then summarizing it and send it to myself, my own inbox every morning, so that I can just read through it whenever I wake up, read through it. And maybe I attend some AI meetings in the afternoon or whatever in the weekend. So I have something
To
at
talk
least to
about.
talk about, right?
Yeah. And I've been in the media business for 10 years also. So I had friends from Germany after COVID coming to China for the first time, and they were investors, and they were investing in they are investing in future technology. So in drones, low altitude economy,
Yeah.
AI, and so on. And they said there is a very, very obvious shift happening, that before they were just investing in the US, and then they started seeing competition coming out of China, and then they started, okay, thinking maybe we also should invest in China, and then they did. But
Yeah.
and then this investor friend, he told me that, Thomas, there's so much happening here, but we don't know anything. You have to write something, because you're on the ground.
Yeah.
And being on the ground is so important, right?
Yeah.
Right now we're here in Shenzhen. So Shenzhen is 2 flight hours from Shanghai. And the atmosphere here is so different.
It's a completely different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different to Shanghai.
So one lessons we have to say to our listeners is, if you see the China experts in Germany or wherever in the rest of the world, just delete them, block them. Don't listen to them. Like I see so much BS about what people on LinkedIn write about what's happening in Asia. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So if you see like a China expert in somebody's biography, just
Did you print your name card? You
yeah.
have a print card ready?
Also, like people say, like, oh, the most important thing about doing business is China, like how you hand the business card to people. Like this is like maybe 25 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah.
But people still pay a lot of money for these experts. Yeah. And then we decided we want to change that.
Correct.
There's a problem. The problem is so much happening here in Asia when it comes to technology and innovation, and people in the West don't know about it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we want to change it.
Correct. So we met in the elevator,
Went to the gym.
went to the gym. I pitched it wasn't not really an idea. I didn't had in mind creating a business out of it. It was
Yeah.
just for me, because there was a problem that I couldn't keep up with what is happening right now. So I wanted to have some filtered view on what actually matters to me, and maybe also to the rest of my bubble.
Yeah.
So I wanted to change that. I pitched that idea to you, and you said, "Oh, great,
Let's do
it's a
it.
great idea." I just had the discussion with the investor last week.
Yeah.
Can we do it for a bigger audience? Because you were in the media, I didn't know you, so I was like, okay, yeah, why not? Let's try it. I don't know.
Yeah. And I remember like one question I asked you was, how fast can we start?
True.
Because I hate this talking.
Yeah.
I met so many people in my life who came to me because they know I've been doing social media for a long time and said, "Oh, I always want to do it." I always said, "Then just do it."
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I hated like, "Oh, I want to plan. I need to buy a camera. Whatever." Nobody needs a camera. Everyone has a phone.
Yeah.
You have internet. These are the only two things you need.
Yeah.
You go on your phone. You film a video. You put it online. So that's why I didn't know you either. So how fast can we start? And then like 2 weeks later, we registered the company.
Yeah. Was that easy?
Yeah, it is. It is easy.
Yeah, actually, it is just an easy thing. If you just commit to something,
Yeah.
execute, do it, and then on the way, you will improve naturally. It's just, find a way to just start.
Yeah. And also, like on the way now, we met friends here who came to China from the US, for example, and they saw what's going on here, and they said, okay, they just stayed here, and then said they started their own company.
Yeah.
And they do like really, really high class business. So it's robotics, right? So it is possible. You just have to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
But still, sometimes it's quite frustrating. Being an entrepreneur is not that easy. But the good thing is, like, you also know, like, you have been working out, for example, for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we always say it is just like going to the gym. It's always ups and downs. Sometimes your weight goes up, sometimes your weight goes down. But in the end, you will just keep on doing it. I lost 60 kilos, and I know, like, sometimes you're not in the mood to go to the gym. You maybe you gain some weight, gain some fat, but you will never go back.
Yeah, I also always try to compare it with my whole gym journey. I mean, I started the business also in 2017, 19 myself. That was when I came the first time to China, and also my family background is in the same. Like they are entrepreneurs, so I knew I wanted to build something my own. And just like going to the gym, I knew it's not happening overnight. And if it's happening overnight, it's just maybe quick money and you don't know how to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have some long-term vision, long-term goal, and then just trust the process.
Yeah, and our long-term vision is to live in a world where global knowledge flows without borders.
Correct.
This is what we want. So what we can do is, like, we're on the ground, we live in China, we travel a lot to the other countries around China. And what we want to know, we want to find the experts, people on the ground, authentic people who know what's happening and who don't just like want to tell you something to sound smart, right?
Correct.
So that's why everything we write, we just try to write it in a way, or like doing this podcast, that we would talk with a friend, right? So
not too formal. Otherwise, it's just something that's very hard to digest, right? It should be easy. Like, we're not here to say, okay, like, I mean, we are some sort of bias in a way that we decided to come here and we obviously prefer living here, but it's not that we wanted to say that everything that's happening here is better, right? It's just as you said, it's the suicide. You should not ignore what is happening in
Yeah.
Asia.
Yeah, like I always want people to let them know they don't have to become China fanboys
Correct.
like I am. I love to live here and it's a great life, but you cannot ignore China.
No,
It's you don't have to love it, but you have to understand what's going on here because there's no single future problem that we can solve without the Asian countries.
I truly believe that. Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm here.
And all the like the technology and innovation is happening and when we look at consumption power, for example,
Hmm.
so the consumption power is also rising so high. So if you're a brand or if you're an investor, if you're a political organization, you really have to understand. And this is once again going back to Germany, I really cannot understand why there's such a big ignorance in Germany when it comes to China. Like the our German chancellor hasn't even been here since
No.
he took office.
Yeah, that's a problem because most of the time I go back now and I'm be asked like, aren't you afraid? I'm like, what? Why would I be afraid? Yeah, because what they're using with your data, like there's so many cameras and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so what? Are you choosing like why should I be afraid? Is it because I want to commit some crime or something
yeah,
in China? Or what should I be afraid of that they're watching me?
yeah,
Except that I feel safe,
yeah,
like super safe here. I can literally like go out to a cafe, leave my laptop there, go to wherever I want, and come back for like an hour later, and it's still there.
yeah,
Nobody would even touch it. So it's something sometimes like very. I can't understand why they still think this way.
yeah. And one big difference I find here in China is that Chinese people are so curious when they see me.
Oh yeah,
And I take a taxi, for example, and every time they will ask me, "So where are you from?" And then I say Germany, and they say, "Oh yeah, Germany, great country." They used to say that, so this
yeah.
changed a little bit. It's the um, they will ask questions
Mm.
about Germany. How's life in Germany? Is it safe? What about the refugees? They love to talk about this topic. Chinese taxi
Well,
drivers.
even yesterday, I was thinking about when we went to the restaurant, and yeah, we were sitting outside and had the talk in Chinese with our guests, right?
Yeah,
And there was this guy standing next to us, just listening to
yeah.
what you were saying. That you were so fluently speaking
He
Chinese,
was fascinated.
and they are always like this, and
Yeah,
it's sometimes I feel like it's still for you, even though that you're very used to it because you went to so many places in China, right? That you still find joy that people are really interested and they are very curious about you, and they are so fascinated that you speak the language.
yeah.
That would never happen in
And
Germany. Like if
grateful even, I would say.
yeah, if there's like a Chinese people, like a Chinese person talking fluent German in Germany or in the West, it would like,
Yeah. That's
oh
okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
And also like the curiosity. It's like this is one big difference and I really enjoy it here. So in Germany, as you said, like I've been living in China for 10 years. Every time I come back and people they're even like some people just saying it bluntly in my face, I would never go to China to visit you.
Yeah.
Like what the heck? Like
Yeah, yeah,
why
yeah.
would you even say that? Right? And then all the like everyone I do a lot of workshops on business in China, e-commerce, social media in China, and then we have this delegations. It's like business people, politicians coming here. I will always ask them a question. So, what what is your impression of China, or what do you think of China? And every single one of them will say it's so different to what I imagined.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they have this imagination in their mind because if you just read the Western media, you would think like,
Yeah, now you see only this trade war, right?
yeah,
So they're in between, or at least I feel like in between some something that they cannot even choose. So there's the US, obviously, trying to incorporate all these tariffs, right? And then China. So there's a big fight, let's say, between these nations. And yeah, I feel it feels like Germany or even Europe is sitting in between. They don't really know which side to choose. So they rather let the others fight and watch.
But here's also one thing that really surprised me when I started doing the research for when it comes to technology, innovation, and business here.
Mm,
There is no war going on in
true.
this. So this is something that the media wants you to believe, that they
Yeah.
hate each other. Chinese people hate American people hate Chinese people. But here we see American founders, startup founders from the Bay Area, from Silicon Valley, coming here and seeing, wow, it's crazy what's going on here. So what they do, they take the best things from both countries, the software, the drive, the
Mm,
motivation, the people, the education from the US. Then they put it together with the Chinese speed, Chinese hardware,
yeah.
the Chinese ecosystem, and they build great products that actually can change the world.
Yeah, it's something that happens underneath all these headlines that you read.
So this is what we want to try to discover and show to the world. So there's much more cooperation. Or for example, Pfizer, we wrote about it, like Pfizer buying Chinese medicine technology,
Yeah.
or then in medicine and in technology, like cancer research, there's so much cooperation between the US and China, right? Like Stanford or Harvard professors investing in AI startups in China because they have the knowledge, they have the research, and the AI technology from China can help them to scale much faster.
Yeah, most of the Chinese startups also, their goal is also to IPO in the US
Yeah,
because they need global capital. Capital is still available in the US. They have most of the companies here, they have obviously like a domestic strategy how to achieve a certain market share in this market, but most of them they still choose to have, like, when they found the company, to have a global strategy, and this always includes that they will go to the Nasdaq
yeah.
ultimately, or like mm, any other market outside of China. So it's not that most of the companies are just looking at the domestic market. They are willing to move abroad, and most of the time, actually, they choose the US.
And when you look at the media articles, when it's always black and white, these stories are so hard for them to put into their frame of black
Yeah,
and white, you know.
true.
So why would American founders go to China, or why do Chinese people still like America?
Yeah,
So, because this is life. Life is gray, right? Life is not black and white. But it's so surprising for a lot of media and a lot of people. So what we really want to do is to show that there are so many shades of gray here and all over the world, and most of the people, they just want to live their normal lives. They want to have sustainable income. They want to be healthy, and they don't want to be part of this big war picture.
yeah, and also develop in a way that they develop themselves, develop the business. They have to grow, right? So
Yeah,
how would you grow if you always stay in one market, in your comfort zone? It was the same for me. Like, I felt stuck somehow. There was no perspective for me, so I was like, okay, I have to do some sort of action, because it's very easy to complain all the
yeah.
time, like, and not doing anything. And then sometimes you have to choose some, like, harder, or to do some harder decisions, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but in the end, it turns out it's not actually not that hard.
It's not that hard. It's also not hard to come to China,
No,
right? So
I felt very well welcoming when I came here. Like, the people actually wanted to help. It was so easy for me to mm, to network here.
yeah,
I never networked
unbelievable.
in Germany. I was living in Hamburg for 5 years, and it was very hard for me to find even, like, Hamburg friends, or create a network. And now, after 6 months being here, I have a very, very huge network I wouldn't have imagined before coming here.
And we have like these are like high quality, high profile people
Oh yeah,
you can meet here. And the thing I found out is that the people, it's because maybe we all don't live in our home countries. We
yeah,
all maybe need someone to support us somehow, or we all have the same feeling that we are strangers here, right?
Yeah.
So we made this networking dinner last week, and it's just very spontaneous. And it was like 10 people, like creative directors from Disney. Then we have like startup founders. We have a head of HR from a German company, and it's like unbelievable how willing everyone is to
Support each
share,
other,
to support each
share,
other.
support, right?
Yeah,
Even when I reached out to the people on LinkedIn, I had no reach before I came here. Like I have
yeah,
like I don't know 400
yeah,
something contacts or
yeah,
whatever. But we reached out to the people and telling them the story that I'm gonna move, or at least trying to explore the market, and they were actually very happy to hear about it.
yeah,
So they wanted to share their contacts with me. So even though they don't know me, or they eventually never have any mutual benefits or benefit from them for themselves giving me their contacts, they were actually willing to do so, and they were so kind, and that was something I wasn't really expecting. And when I started with this, it just kicked off, and yeah, one contact led to the other, then
yeah,
attending the networking events, because they're like in Shanghai, there's basically every day one.
yeah,
So you can
yeah,
you can basically go to all these networking events, and in a very short time you meet so many good people that really want to help, because they are curious, they like what you do, they support your vision, and they are in the same seat.
yeah. And people are just generous.
Yeah,
This is not something, I mean, I've never been in a startup circle or like a big in networking in Germany, but this for me, it's like unbelievable. And I'm so grateful because you can meet people and you know they're genuinely willing to help you to succeed. I have
yeah.
a lot of friends. We're in a similar business, but we haven't done any business for 8 years.
Mm,
And then after in year 9, we found out, oh, okay, so maybe there's an opportunity we can work together. But we're friends first, right?
yeah.
And this is what I really love. So you quit your job in Germany and moved to China. How do you feel about it now? 6 months.
Yeah, everything moves so fast.
Mm.
Something I didn't, as I said, I didn't really expect to be here after such a short time, having like a clear company structure. Also, still, it's a journey. Like
Yeah,
I love it, and I love the food. Everything is so convenient here, especially living in Shanghai, which is why I really like this whole environment to be there as an entrepreneur, because you can really focus on the things that are super important for you and your business in order to develop yourself, because most of the annoying tasks, there's a service for it,
yeah,
which is very
yeah,
convenient.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we also have to say this is because there are so many people in China and
Such competition, yeah.
high competition for a lot of people. The salary is quite low,
Yeah.
and although there's competition in, for example, delivery, like the big companies are fighting against each other, which mean that we as a consumer can have very cheap delivery food, right?
Correct.
Because they're burning a lot of money. But yeah, this is how life is, right? There's, I think, in China for sure you can still have the American dream in China. So
And
you,
people here, they're really working so hard
yeah,
because they have to. And this is also what keeps the country running, I guess. There's
yeah,
not no such thing. I mean, there is. I met a lot of people, they have work-life balance and home office and all this kind of stuff, but it didn't really take over so that it's becoming a absolutely crucial requirement for all the companies in order to hire good talents, that you offer like everything, giving
yeah.
their whole freedom. Because here they really have to work, they have to get things done. And this is something that I guess is like a very important engine to keep this country running.
Yeah, and it's a big difference to, let's say, India, for example. So I went to India, and I have to say the sad thing I saw there, but I also have to say it was 2010 when I went there. But I traveled through the country, and then I saw, like, in a lot of villages, a lot of places you go, there are men in the same age like us just
Mm,
sitting in the street the whole day, not doing anything.
yeah.
This is because of the societal structure in India, also a big problem. But there's so much resources, so much workforce that
Mm.
is unused, and this is not the case in China. Like everyone is working so hard, right? And
especially here in Shenzhen.
Especially in Shenzhen, right? This is too much. So I'm a big fan of work hard, play hard. So
Yeah.
you still should enjoy your life. But I also think that it's coming. Like people are also realizing that it's also important to do fitness,
Yeah.
to go out in the park, go hiking or whatever.
Even though the
Because
trend is not yet here.
it's not yet here, but it will come. Like for
But
everyone who's interested in the fitness industry, in the outdoor industry, in the health industry, China is a huge market.
there's so much potential, definitely. If you copy whatever is working in the West, basically,
Yeah.
it eventually will come here. And then you have a big, big market.
Yeah. Podcasts, for example. Like
Podcast,
the
for
thing we're
example.
in the West already, I don't know, like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Huge thing in the West. And we're talking to platforms that were saying that starting from next year,
Correct.
they will start doing it. So building the bridge or doing the business between the two worlds, it's really interesting because there's so many things that are much more advanced in China that you could bring to the West and then the other way around.
Yeah.
Some trends, some things that are very popular in the West, they will come to China. But this means that you have to understand both of the worlds.
Yeah. Finding partners who are on the ground, talking to them who are actually here.
Yeah.
And not to the ones who used to be here 20 years ago.
Stay
right?
away from the China experts. I have to say it again. I get so triggered by these people on LinkedIn who post the China expertise. Even it's not enough to come to China once a year. I mean, it's a good thing to get get an idea what's happening here, right? But then also choose wisely with whom you come here, because we see these delegations and then they will bring people
BYD store.
to the BYD store in a random shopping mall.
Yeah.
And then people will say, wow, this is so great. They pay like thousands of dollars for them.
This is, I don't know.
Yeah. So our idea is that sooner or later we should do a good delegation, because also like we started doing our projects in Shenzhen maybe a month ago, right? Or the first time
The first time we came here was
like
yeah,
a month ago,
but it was for a complete different.
for something completely different. And now, like in 1 month, the people we met, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. The young founders, the very established professors, the accelerators, universities.
Yeah, and the insights that they give you, like what they share with you, is actually so valuable that I don't know. It's also very hard for us. Like the moment we started, so many people were reaching out to us and
Yeah.
having so many good ideas. They have like such a great network that they are willing to share with you, and that you're like, what am I going to do with all this?
Yeah,
Like,
I
how
mean,
do I structure myself and my company that I'm not going into a completely wrong direction? It's so easy to lose track, especially if you have so many opportunities.
yeah, for me the biggest risk is that I will die of caffeine overdose, because so many people want to drink coffee with me and exchange that. Like it's crazy. Like you really have to filter out who you can meet and who not, because we still have to build a business.
Yeah,
We're trying to build a team. We are a startup, so this is really it becomes a luxury problem, right?
Yeah. So you were doing social media for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
But it was always centered around you as a person.
Yeah, not a very healthy business model.
Yeah. So how do you see building now a product and also a company that is not only you as a person?
Oh, it is much more rewarding, but much more frustrating also. Because with social media, most of it is you're at the right place at the right time, and you make a video and then people like it. So it's like very easy to scale, right? You just have to stick on it, and if you're creative in a way and you have like the German endurance, then it's very easy to succeed. So, and this was also part of, it worked really well for me. But from a business perspective, it's not very healthy. If I would be an investor, never, ever invest in social media personalities, because then there's one shitstorm, and I had a lot of shitstorms, and then you're gone, right?
Yeah.
So for me, this is really new experience. but I enjoy every moment of it, even the frustrating
Yeah.
moments. Then when sometimes you think you go like 2 steps ahead and then you go 5 steps backwards.
Yeah,
And
you
then
have a
in the
good
end,
run, right? Until the end of the week, and then on Friday something's happening and you feel like, what?
yeah,
I have to start all over again. Or at least it feels like. But then you look back, and we can look back only on a very short time,
yeah,
and
couple
you
of
feel
months.
like, oh wow.
So the worst thing for me is to think, oh, I have to do everything on my own. It's very hard to find good people, but I think this is something everyone struggles with. And in the
Yeah,
end, we are the founders of
correct.
this company, and we always will be the ones who will be responsible for it, and there will nobody will like help you like,
Save you.
or save you. Yeah, nobody will save you.
No.
And let's go back to fitness. It's the same. It's like you just have to go to the gym. You have to show up, and then you will lose weight. You eat clean, and then it works. And this
Yeah,
don't wait for anyone to save
correct.
you.
It works, and it's actually also so easy. Like most of the people also ask me, like, how do I get like a
Yeah,
good body? I was
yeah,
like, I don't know.
yeah,
Find it out yourself. You have to
yeah,
try. Everybody is completely different. There's no secret or
yeah,
something. The secret is stick to it, do it, and go.
yeah,
Then either you eat a lot or eat more than you burn and you gain weight,
yeah,
or you eat less than you burn and you lose weight. This is so simple. Just execute it, stick to your long term or like your goal, even if it's short term. I mean, there's also something that you can achieve, right? But in the end, it's just like don't lose focus, find
yeah,
your direction. Either it's grow like gaining or losing something. It's
yeah.
that easy. Just do it. So this is something we try to adapt on our business as well, right? We see the long term goal, we have our picture, we have our clear vision, and it's something that you don't achieve overnight.
No, no. And we try a lot of stuff, like the same like in the gym. You try a lot of
Yeah, you
weird
see so many
exercises.
fancy exercises on Instagram, like people who have like a great shape or whatever,
Yeah,
maybe doing something illegal, but then pretending that everything is super
yeah,
natural, and then showing some fancy exercises. Everybody's trying to find the right exercise. That's it. That's
yeah.
the one that gives
For
me
change
like
everything.
changes my physique overnight. Tomorrow
Yeah,
I'll be looking
yeah.
very perfect. There's no hack. There's no
No,
hack.
no. The one hack we have, it's like that we do it in Asia, and I'm very happy. Like it's not just the work environment, but it's as you said, the food is amazing. The price value. I mean, in the US, you also have really good food, right? Because American people are very obviously love to eat,
Mm.
but the price you have here, it's like the cost of living. It's
Prices and
amazing.
variety is more important, right?
Variety.
Doesn't get boring.
No, no, we
Never.
just today for lunch we just went out and found a random restaurant and it was amazing.
Beijing
And
duck. That's
yeah,
something that you would pay for so much. Like it would be like super. How do you say? Would be like a super exciting date that you
yeah.
would have, right? In anywhere else if
For
you
us it
went to.
was a work lunch.
It was it was a work lunch. Yeah,
And
it was so good.
we paid $15 per person
Wow.
for it. This is so
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, so we're very excited about this. This is just the beginning. We have so many crazy guests, people who
Oh yeah.
share their stories with us. It's like for me, it's always mind blowing what's happening here and the speed that
Yeah,
things
it's a
are
very good
developing.
timing right now. Also,
Yeah,
like people are really willing to build something. There are good people here, like
yeah,
exceptional minds. They
yeah.
have such a great background also, and especially their network is impressive because, as we said, they are really willing to share their networks with each other, and yeah,
And that's why we both decided to do this podcast in English, even if like our German's accent, like mine for sure, is very strong and it's just very simple English we can use. But we really want to reach a lot of people because people have to know what's going on. And also our guests, they're saying the same. For some Chinese entrepreneurs, it's very hard to express themselves in English,
yeah,
but they do, and I think it's beautiful. Like
yeah. They do a great job.
they do a great job, and I found out like people in the US, they are very tolerant and very open, because it's a country where a lot of foreigners live whose native language is not English, and they're very open to it. So the most judgy people are the Chinese and the Germans, talking about other Germans' English. So yeah, I'm very excited. And
Yeah, me too. Just like we said, we just wanted to start, even though it's not perfect, or
yeah,
it's never
it will never
it will
be.
never be perfect. So
Yeah, but
we just want to make it authentic as possible.
yeah,
Right?
with one vision, like to let people in the West know what's going on in Asia, give them an impression on how our lives are here, how business is here, for investors if they want to invest money here,
Yeah.
people who want to do business here. And yeah, so one goal is to bring the people together, help them do good business, make money, and improve this world.
Exactly. Just like most of the founders we interviewed now said to us, like the most valuable thing is bring people together, make them happy, and then solve their problems. It's not like about I want to be crazy rich.
No. Yeah.
But in the end, if you serve people's problems or solve people's problems, then you're creating a better world, and we want to be part of that. We
Yeah.
want to give them the stage to actually tell the people out there what are they doing, like what is the next, I don't know, rocket that is coming up from China.
Yeah,
Or
and-
even like not only from China, from Asia.
And this is actually what quite a few people said to me. Like the first one was my investor friend from Germany. He said, I want you to show me the next DeepSeek. And then yesterday, people said, oh, maybe in your podcast, we will find the next Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Right?
You never know.
So you never know. It's all young people, all very, very innovative people and very hardworking people. And I'm sure with all the friends we make, sooner or later, we will see the next Elon Musk, the next genius here from China, from Asia, from different countries, different places here.
Yeah. And then we have them on our WeChat.
Yeah, then we are good friends.
We
with them.
don't need the business card, right?
We don't
And
need their
then
business
hand
card.
it over with 2 hands.
Yeah. So last time, stay away from the China experts. Okay. Very looking forward
Yeah, me too.
to
Me
where
too. Me
this
too.
journey is going.
Yeah.